Welcome to Empowering Chats with Susan Burrell. This is where we have deep, intimate conversations about self-empowerment and future existence. I am an intuitive healer and a light leader who has been called to activate other light leaders. So I'm curious, are you one of them? So by listening, lean in and see if you are ready to be that eternal potential you've been called to be. Using your bravery, your talent, your tenacity, can you be innovative and adventurous in order to activate your light and lead from that place? This is where we learn how to love ourselves from the inside out and love the whole world over and over again. Enjoy the show. Wow, I just have all this energy just flowing in and through me right now. Once I hit record for this show, you guys, it's, oh my goodness. So I'm so excited to then have this conversation with a gentleman I spoke to earlier in 2025. He's a shaman, and he wrote a book called The Shaman's Mind. And I'm welcoming back Jonathan Hammond. Thanks so much for being here again.
Aloha from Maui. It's really great to be here. Thank you, Susan, for having
Oh, gosh. I must be the aloha floating over me.
me.
I swear I'm all tingly from my head to my toes. So I'm so curious what we're going to talk about. So, you guys, I invited Jonathan back because his wisdom is so vast, and not just from his shamanic training, but also you work with people therapeutically, right, Jonathan?
Right. Yeah. So I'm a real mix of indigenous wisdom, earth wisdom, and kind of contemporary psychological models. So I can kind of bridge those and put those together. So yeah.
Yeah, and I got to say, you guys, this is your skill set, Jonathan, is really what I believe we're needing now, because not the indigenous, but the earth model and the psychological is what we're all being called to, I believe, ground back into, right? We have not forgotten, but maybe gone to sleep about what's necessary for the planet and what's necessary for humanity, to grow into a new society, a new way of being in the human family. So
Yeah. Even if you think of something like soul retrieval, bringing a part of us back that's been lost. Yes, that's wonderful. But then it's also about, now that it's back, I would have to make some changes in my life if that is back, and that's the realm of the psychological. So working with both is really helpful.
okay, so let's talk a bit about soul retrieval, because that sounds very important. Okay, so first of all, explain to people what soul retrieval is and what it actually means.
Well, we live in a culture, in a family culture, a political culture, where parts of us are not welcome, or parts of us are shut down, or we send parts of ourselves away
Yeah.
to fit. And when we do that, we're removing vital essence from ourselves. If you think about shamanic healing, it's very simple. It's either putting something back that's been lost, or removing something that shouldn't be there. It's one of that's what it is. And
Okay.
so a lot of times with soul retrieval, it's about the parts of us that have been lost or sent away, that we bring back, and then we become. When we do that, our sense of self shifts, and our identity shifts. A lot of times we're walking around with a case of mistaken identity because there's something missing, or because something has been overlaid onto our authentic nature.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm a shamanic practitioner is because in nature itself, nothing in nature does that. It doesn't overlay a false identity onto itself. The dandelion is just the dandelion, and is ecstatic to be that. But we humans have this thing that is separate from nature. We could even say that we exist in a framework that is human culture versus nature, and that's where we got into trouble to begin with. And they're very different, and they're very disconnected, and they follow different rules and different laws. And the one that we're seeing right now is so antithetical to natural law.
Yeah.
Natural law being interdependence, interconnection, a healthy ecosystem being the most diverse one. That's what's mirrored in nature. That survival of the fittest actually, the ecological studies are showing the fittest are actually those that are most cooperative and connected to the all. So our human culture right now is very separate from the laws of nature, and we've been on this road for a long time, but now it's really revealing itself as problematic, and our planet is reflecting it as well.
Yes. Yes. I was on a call yesterday, and the woman who was leading the call suggested that all the Earth's upheavals that we're experiencing, the weather change and all that, isn't just scientific stuff. It's that the elementals, because humanity is so messed up, we're all, hold on, we're all stuck in our heads that it is, the elementals are confused. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to support the earth when we're doing things, or, that, which totally, when she said that, I was like, well, it makes a lot of sense. So the earth elementals, or the air, or the water, the fire elementals, they're like, well, okay, so we're just gonna kind of do, because it feels like that's what is needed, but it's not. They're just confused.
Well, there's only one consciousness that surrounds the planet, and the Earth has been in a continual process for almost 4 billion years of waking up to itself, of becoming more and more self-aware. If you look at like the first 3 billion years of the planet, it was not a hospitable place to live. It was a place of sulfur and gas and fire and all of that. And over time, it has refined itself through its own consciousness and become conducive to life. So we are earth beings. So we have a consciousness, as does the thing that birthed us, which is the earth. And when a pervasive consciousness is so toxic and so antithetical to the consciousness of the earth, which is really nothing more than a being that says, let's keep going. Life is a good thing. It's life affirming. It's growthful. If you think of everything in nature, it's moving toward life, moving towards growth,
Yes.
towards its own evolution. And when there is a pervasive human consciousness that is so contrary and antithetical to that movement, that's where we get into trouble. That's where we get into trouble, and that's why there's this sort of fractal thing that's going on right now.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not just happening in the United States. It's global. We're seeing it globally. So, I digressed with the elemental.
Sure.
Sorry, Jonathan, but let's go back to this whole thing of the soul retrieval. So, if we as individuals become consciously aware that I have fragmented my soul, maybe through multiple lifetimes, has just left pieces behind,
Sure.
right? And then I'm fragmented. It certainly sounds like, how do you even figure out who you are and why you're here?
Well, I think it really is as simple as that. What is reflected in nature is a sense that everything is life affirming.
Yeah.
So when there are thought forms in us, when there are habits in us, when there are relationships in us, circumstances in our life that feel that they in some way block life, block evolution. That's our signal that there's something there that needs attention. That's the easiest way to think of it. Even if you think of a demon exists only in the mind and is really nothing more than an entity in our mind that blocks us from our own liberation. how it is. So that's what we're trying to do in healing work, is really recognize the thought forms, the habits, the psychology, the blocks to our own spirit, our own goodness, our own gifts that separate us from following an evolutionary path, in the same way that the earth is following an evolutionary path.
Right. Which is always toward, like you said, life affirming, toward growth.
Right.
Actually, and I would add, and toward the greater good.
That's
for
right.
for all the earth and humanity and beyond. So what would you suggest for people? So I'm working with light leader groups, and the purpose has shifted from, are you a light leader? Can you find that light within you and lead your life from that place, to how do we grow our soul in a intentional, conscious way? And part of that is taking what is going on in the outer world and using it as a mirror for your inner world, so that the thing that would cause me to react to what's going on politically in the United States right now, there's triggers there that are really actually for my benefit, to see where in me have I disassociated. What is it in me that actually might kind of be similar to what that is out there? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I have a lot to say about it. So let me just say this for all your listeners. If you are of the light, the darkness doesn't overtake you. It pushes you toward more light. That's the way.
Oh God, say that again. Wow.
If you are of the light, the darkness doesn't overtake you. It pushes you toward more light. That is the reason why what's going on right now, I'm seeing it with my clients, I'm seeing it with a lot of people, is there is a sense of, there's this thing that we've been doing. It's largely around giving our soul and our spirit for someone else's dream, chasing the money, attaching ourselves to systems that do not love us for just enough financially, and believing some idealistic nonsense that we in the United States are better than other people, that we have somehow transcended our shadow. And in fact, if you think of the shadow is the part of us that we want to hide because we don't like that it's there. We all have one. We all want to eat all the pizza. We all want to have sex with all the people. We all want all the money. We have that part of us. And so part of self-work is, I don't want my shadow to express itself, so I'm going to do some work to know that that's there and temper it and tame it. What's going on in right now is that the powers that be have decided that the shadow is the directional voice. That is the voice that you are to follow. And if we don't have to do any work, we don't have to do any empathy, we don't have to do any understanding, we don't have to do any self-inquiry. If we just follow our basic instincts, the instincts that you've previously been embarrassed about, then join me. And so that is what is and that's all. It's kind of always been there. It's just been exposed in its grotesqueness.
Yes.
So that's going on. And now what's happening is the people of the light, and P.S., the indigenous prophecies, the Quechua, the Mayan, the Hopi, the Kali Yuga, even Carl Jung talked about this time on the planet. And when I say this time on this planet, I mean this 75 years that we've been in, what's been called the Great Acceleration, that this would be a time when the world would get very dark. The Mayans even talk about that two Earths would form, and they meant that as a metaphor. So not that there'd be two separate planets, but there would be two consciousnesses beginning in 2012, the Mayan prophecy of 2012, that the two consciousnesses of Earth would become so separate that it would feel like two Earths. So we now are creating the new Earth, having and needing to have a mass exodus from this thing that we've plugged into. And so now the part that's hard, and the part that we're all feeling right now, is that this if we're going to create this new Earth toward all the things that behemoth of toxicity and greed and non-care of life. If we're going to create, we have to go into our creativity. We have to create new ways of being that are separate from that. And so everyone right now who in some way has been rubbing elbows with that thing is trying to get the stench off them and create something from within that is for the people who are who want to, the people, places, and things, nature, that want to move toward this new way of being. And so the more that we can think of, when I watch that on television, I'm separate from that. That's something that actually is a self-cannibalizing, self-hating entity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I'm separate from it. And when I get outraged, why am I getting outraged? Because I'm a loving person that cares about other people on the planet. So that means that when I follow the clickbait and engage in the outrage, they're getting my love. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no. No, we have to separate ourselves from that. Sit back in judgment, and even criticism, not even active criticism, but just a sense of, I see what you're doing, and it's not my job to fix it. It's my job to wait for you to wake up. See, everyone listening to this channel, we're a little ahead. We're a little ahead right now. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way. We're just a little ahead because we've been hovering around the light longer. And and a lot of people haven't. So there is a sense of they either have to figure it out, die out, learn, experience their version of the Tower card, the Tower card in the tarot, which is about life blindsides you with what you've been avoiding and what you've not been looking at, or what you've not been telling the truth to yourself about.
Yeah.
We got to kind of let them do that. And in the meantime, we are in a path of creativity where our hearts and our gifts and our life force is meant to be focused on creating this new way and the reason why it's a little hard right now is that the grooves are not so entrenched. We don't know what we're trying to grab onto it, and there's less to grab onto because that other one is the template we've been following
For centuries.
For centuries. So if we can think that's what we're doing, that's then we have our directionality. So when we talk about 5D consciousness, 5D consciousness that's the 3D. The 3D is characterized as polarity, good, bad, black, white, Trump, Harris, Democrat, Republican. And the 3 is just the eye that sees that, the eye that sees the polarity. 4D is that exists in time. 5D is I see all of it.
Right.
I see all of it. I see it happening, and I'm doing this.
Okay, so you just said a whole bunch, Jonathan, that I wanna tease out, but just that last piece, I see all of it. And it's important for those of us that are of the light, that are light leaders, to see all of it, and then just stay focused on the vision of that you came in with as a soul, which is why you're here, why we're all here.
Yeah, the biggest thing that so those prophecies that I talked about all agree on one thing, that it would be a dark time, but there would be all of these beings of light, these light workers, these people who would usher in the new way, who would exist, who would incarnate at the time to usher in the new way. And what I see with people who are spiritual, who are loving, who are of the light, is that they don't take ownership that that's what they are.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's you can kind of feel that, but it's another thing to say, no, that's actually why I'm here. Lucky me, I'm here at this time on the planet, and it's because I have an evolutionary purpose. That I was birthed by Earth at this time for this purpose. And the more that we can own that, the more that we can be clear about what it is that we're supposed to do and what it is that we're supposed to focus on and what it is that we're not to give our hearts and attention to.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing that I have become aware since the election is that it is not for me, and I think this is true for many, it is not for me to get triggered or be involved with that mishigosh going on over there. That's all smoke and mirrors. It's diverting me from my soul purpose, my soul path. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your enthusiasm, the voice of spirit speaking through you. I really appreciate all of this. And like I said, I'm going to have to listen to this again because there's so many gems I want to really download. So thank you so much.
Aloha, aloha, mahalo.
Thank you. So I'm just going to end with, and so it is, namaste. Well, that wraps up our empowering chat for the day. I hope you enjoyed it and found it inspired you to be more empowered. If you want to find out more about me, go to susanburrell.com, my website, and you can see what we're up to. I am teaching classes again, so there's a calendar of that, and you can register. You can check out my book, Live an Empowered Life, a 30-day journey with the companion inspiration cards, or you can access my guided meditations that go through Insight Timer. We got a bunch of stuff on the website. Check it out. And until then, namaste.